Yeah. Who wants to hear a story? I know I do. Hey you, sitting there with nothing to do, why don't you come over here and maybe try something new? Yes you, don't waste your time just planting your seeds. Let's partake in FlameAmigo619 reads. You got a pick, he'll read ya, hilarity, he'll feed ya, or maybe deep emotions, whatever the feeling doesn't matter. Either solo or with friends, we're going on a trip to faraway places, or maybe not, just take a tip from me. He does have some standards, they're not far-fetched, it's a stretch, so keep that in mind, don't be a bitch. So kick up your feet, find something comfy to sit in, and enjoy the show. Now let us begin.
It hasn't even been that long and we're already back into this shit. This is FlameAmigo619 Reads. We are back, Season 2. Why are we doing this again?
Because you told us to.
Because we have nothing else to do except college and other video projects and all that other stuff that passes
Who
over.
else has video projects? 2 people don't even do that anymore.
Yeah,
It's all I have.
Sage.
I don't.
Let's see
Of
here.
course.
Today we are reading a story from Epic Guy, which is a pretty cool name. We are reading Happy Hooves,
Featuring a crossover between ponies and PEWDIEPIE.
which is already a very interesting crossover. I just
Spoilers.
picked this story on a whim. It sounded funny. So why not? Let's dig into this shit. Okay. Joey shall be playing Pinkie Pie. Will shall be playing PewDiePie. I see it. They did Pinkie Pie, PewDiePie. And the kitty here shall be playing Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, I get to do something more other than Fluttershy.
Yes, she's a one-trick pony. Anyway, Happy Hooves, Chapter 1, Irresponsible Pie. 36 likes, 2 dislikes, 40 comments. Okay, bye Epic Guy. Let's do this. Pinkie Pie calmly climbed into her bicycle. I didn't know you could climb into a bicycle. Making sure each hoof fit nicely under the pedal before putting her full weight on the device. Her mane, as thick and curly as ever, bounced with the beat of each movement her little body made. The sound of her...
Beep, 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 beep.
What?
Okay.
I was making a Schnubble Buddy reference.
The sound of her hooves clopping on the hardened pavement resembled the rhythm of a snare drum, and the song made her eyes sparkle with a light the sun could not replicate.
See, what did I tell you?
My cotton candy man brings all the boys to the yard.
Damn right.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
Hey,
even
when it comes
start.
to ponies, you can't unhear anything.
If you've heard the last few episodes, you can't unhear Scooby-Doo eating out Velma. You can't unhear that. When she was completely balanced on the bicycle, she swiveled her head to glance at the back of the sky blue bike. Along with the striking jet black texture of the wheels and the sterling silver gears within, there was something else that appeared in her clear vision. A passenger seat. Pinkie gasped a long, droning shriek as she saw it was empty. I thought he was actually going to do it, never mind. The 2 portions of the belt hung loose and fluttered whenever the bike swayed. Fuck.
Ow, my ears.
Asshole.
You missed your cue, jackass!
Dashy!
It's Cod. Her maid with magenta blurs, her hawk-like eyes searched rapidly for any sign of the speedy Pegasus. In one corner of one eye, there was a pale cyan figure heading for the hills. Pinkie Pie uttered an animal-like scream and suddenly was gone.
I didn't know animals would scream like
Didn't
that.
know Pinkie Pie sounded like a retarded otter. Not even the thinnest strand of pink hair was left as she became void of existence. Well then, that's interesting. Dashy's hooves pounded on the concrete, sometimes slipping on sweat that had escaped her brow. One of 2 reasons for the sweat was the clothing Pinkie Pie had forced her to wear. An orange shirt that squeezed her chest in ways it shouldn't, and vibrant green pants that hugged places pants should not be allowed to hug. I believe in weird sections of the world, people having tight clothes on and tightly gripping their body is a fetish somewhere.
What do you think S&M gimps are
And-
for?
That's a good point, actually. Okay, another reason was the insane, delirious pink earth pony that was probably smelling her fear like a fresh hay and cheese sandwich.
Dang, that mare can run
She
fast.
muttered she muttered around her hanging tongue.
It has one heck of a sense of smell.
She contemplated flying up and away from the place, but the tight shirt didn't give any room for her wings to unfurl, let alone fly. Her magenta eyes flashed with irritation. Suddenly, her hooves stopped moving, and she stopped in her tracks. Okay, I don't get what difference is. Rainbow Dash simply stood there listening. The angry sounds of Pinkie Pie's hooves had vanished. She twisted around to get a good look at where she had left her friend by that accursed bike. It had fallen over, and Pinkie was nowhere to be seen. Rainbow Dash gasped and began a mad dash for the nearest way of escape, her hooves barely touching the ground as she sped. Her face was frozen in a morbid combination of horror and despair. She
Not
couldn't
good.
finish her sentence as there was a writhing mass of pink almost strangling her and practically sitting on her warm chest. From the deep whirling figure covered in fur poked out a pair of ice blue eyes. Everybody cover your ears.
Dashi!
Well, that wasn't that bad, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me, if you assigned me as Pinkie Pie, then you would have to cover your ears.
You know what? Just because I can... Okay, we'll do it. I'm going to cover my ears.
Dashi!
There we go. Better.
Wow, I have bigger balls than I thought.
Rainbow Dash kicked out with her back hooves, but it only tightened the area around some of a mare's most private spots. She winced and gave in to Pinkie Pie's wrath, and then they fucked. I'm kidding.
I'm not getting on that thing, Pinkie.
But Dashi!
No means no.
But you promised!
Rainbow Dash sat on the pavement, her hooves crossed in rebellion. As funny as she looked, the Pegasus was nothing compared to Pinkie Pie. The Earth Pony had donned a flimsy, earthy green shirt, loosely attached to a pair of brown pants by way of a dark belt. She also had a realistic handlebar mustache that bounced as she talked, and a helmet firmly placed over her wild mane.
Then why don't I have a
Rainbow
helmet?
whined.
Because I'm supposed to be the irresponsible dad, silly filly!
He answered as if her explanation was perfectly normal for one to say.
There's two things wrong with this
Rainbow
picture.
Dash protested.
For one, I'm about to board a bike driven by Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie!
What's your
With
point,
no
sister?
sa- With no safety other than a pitiful seatbelt. Also, you're not in any way related
That's
to
not
me.
when she said when she was visiting her candy shop. Anyway.
And I thought I was talking to a future Wonderbolt, not a precision!
Rainbow Dash was taken aback by the statement, and she clearly showed it.
I don't know you, Dad.
She hissed between her teeth.
And now watch as I spontaneously change my accent every 5 lines. You getting on this flippin' point, young lady? Or when Celestia is my witness, I will ground you!
No way, you're lying. I can see it in your eyes.
Pinkie Pie began climbing back on the bike, the meadow creaking slightly.
And Missy!
Rainbow Dash kicked out a stone, sending it flying across the barren landscape.
Ha! The old count trick. Nice try, Pops.
2...
Still, she did not budge.
17!
Pinkie Pie's hooves seemed to defy the laws of physics for a split second, growing to an abnormally long length to grab hold of Rainbow's neck and fling her aggressive body into the flimsy bike seat, designed for little fillies and colts to accompany their parents. It practically screamed under her weight and threatened to collapse, but the laws of gravity apparently did not apply, and she stayed safe and sound in her seat.
Pinkie!
The party mare extraordinaire began to pedal as fast as her hooves would go, making a thick cloud of pink arise from below and a few rogue sparks lighting up the dark concrete. Her eyebrows...
I'm a maniac on a bike, and I pedals like I never pedals before.
I did not just hear that. What the fuck?
Well done, my good sir. Well done.
It's clear who are the real stars tonight. I'm just the narrator. I have my good friends here that act and shit and stuff. For a moment, everything was slow, as if they were submerged in molasses. Dash felt every trace of fur on her body stiffen in anticipation, every fiber of her being prepared for what she was still to... For what was she? I'm sorry, I can't fucking read tonight. Okay, try that again. Dash felt every trace... Motherfucker, don't interrupt me. Dash... It's FlameAmigo619 gonna have to shoot a bitch! I swear to God!
I'm sorry, I was about to say, try using words and
I'm
sentences.
gonna kick you out because if I do this, it's gonna end the Skype call. God damn it.
So it looks like you're stuck with us.
You mad?
I'm going to murder you and your entire family. Dash felt every trace of fur on her body stiffen in anticipation, every fiber of her being prepared for what was still to come. A shock wave of lightning coursed through her spine, energizing Rainbow Dash's mind. She felt ready. Then the wind blasted her face, tore off some of the skin, and she screamed,
I'm not ready!
The moonstruck driver didn't hear her terrified words. So violently she was pedaling and so excited she was for what was planned for the two. A rogue rock rushed up to meet the frontmost wheel of the bicycle.
Watch out for the stone!
Rainbow Dash squeaked. Pinkie Pie laughed, her elegant mustache jiggling and a few stray strands of fluffy mane making an entrance.
Not a problem, my little Dashy. That's a great fix, by the way.
She called.
It's just a pebble.
The pebble had a large enough mass to throw the bike off course and potentially damage any pony on board, in which it did both of these. It buckled and maneuvered sharply to the left in an illegal U-turn, and half of Pinkie Pie's mustache was ripped off thanks to the wind speed.
My mustache! My powers are useless without my mustache!
Pinkie cried.
Shut up,
According
Dad.
to Rainbow.
I need my mustache!
After they shoved the bike back into its regular course, the Pegasi's eyes widened at a thought she didn't bother pondering until that very moment.
Where are we going, Pinkie Pie?
She asked. Pinkie Pie at first did not answer. Her eyes seemed locked onto a rapidly approaching bump in the road that seemed to be growing with every foot they traveled, or every hoof they traveled. Rainbow Dash couldn't help but notice her long silky tail becoming strained and some of the patches of mane fluttering. Flattening.
Where are we
She
going?
repeated. Silence.
Pinkie?
The bump
Continue.
The bump began to crest into not an insignificant bump, but a medium-sized mountain that they began to ascend. Rainbow Dash made the mistake of looking down and nearly squawked like a scootaloo in complete horror. Suddenly, Pinkie Pie's head began to pivot towards her, much like an owl. One pupil was dilated and a deep shade of blue, the other minuscule and a peppy shade of sky blue. A psychotic smile was copy-pasted onto her face, almost too large for her cheeks to handle. Dashy had one eye on what had become her friend and the other staring at the approaching hill. It was close enough to see over the edge, and she was not the least bit optimistic about what awaited them below.
Honestly,
Pinkamena rasped.
Dashy.
Rainbow Dash let one eye slide towards the pedals. She couldn't see the magenta mare's hooves anymore. They were going so fast. She counted the seconds as the frontmost wheel neared the edge.
I didn't care!
At once they were flying across the gigantic gaping hole below the steep hill. Sharp spikes happily poked out of the hole and awaited becoming shish kebab sticks that glinted as they were splattered with crimson blood. Of course, Dashy screamed,
Here's Celestia! Pinkie Pie! Pinkie Pie!
sounding more and more like Fluttershy every time. The front wheel landed neatly on the opposite hill, ready to move on, but thanks to Rainbow Dash's weight,
Hey!
the other did not have as smooth as a landing. It never touched land and simply twirled in midair.
Okay, Pinkie Pie.
Rainbow Dash cooed.
Calm down.
Shut up, kid.
Pinkamena snarled. Rainbow took a double take as her mind concluded that this was not her perky pal's usual voice at all, but one of an uptight father.
Don't make me turn this machine up.
Rainbow Dash, out of options, decided to play along.
Dad!
Pinkie Pie leaned forward until her flank was proudly raised, much to Rainbow Dash's combination of arousal and dismay, and began to pedal once more. She grunted and not a single drop of sweat rolled down from her brow, but nothing stopped the pink pony as the bike began to dip forward. Slowly at first, centimeters at a time, they trudged forward with the back wheel and Rainbow beginning to follow. Her eyes shone as one half of the wheel made it onto the cold, heartless concrete with a dull thud. Suddenly, Pinkamena jerked backwards, the laws of physics bending to her will and pushing the two forward. Her balloon-covered plot was thrust straight into Dashy's face, and the Pegasus felt the tight shirt's edges rip as her wings threatened to make an appearance.
I like this position.
She murmured around a sea of silky tail.
Of course you took it.
Pinkamena blushed furiously, but didn't let any pony know of her sudden happiness. Rainbow was about to reply when from out of nowhere 2 arrows flew at their vital organs from different directions. She let out a muffled cry and buried her muzzle deeper into the depths of Pinkie Pie.
I heard of shoving your head up a horse's ass, but...
I think that's the other hole we're talking about now.
Oh. So now she got the head up a horse's cooch.
Wow.
Basically.
And at this point, Rainbow Dash said, "Wow, surely does taste like cotton candy."
God damn it, Will. One arrow flew at Pinkamena's heart. With a tilt of the handlebar, she sidestepped the lethal weapon's shining point and had it only grazed the coarse hairs of one hoof. Only a few seconds later, after regaining normal speed at angle, the hoof fell off.
Dad, your hoof fell
Rainbow
off!
cried. Even from her position, a few crimson droplets landed across her dapper shirt.
That's only a small
The
sacrifice.
chauffeur answered.
What's the big one?
You!
The other arrow had not stopped a straightforward route aimed directly at one of the rubber handlebars. Pinkamena thrust him sideways and pedaled like there was no tomorrow, twisting in such a way that Rainbow Dash's seat was in the crossfire. Rainbow ducked, the arrow hit one hoof and went straight through the other side, covered in a thick layer of blood. A tiny wound remained as it flew off into the distance.
What the heck, Pinkie Pie?
She screeched.
That's PewDiePie to you, son.
Came the reply.
Pinkie Pie, I lost my hoof!
Rainbow whined as the damaged hoof fell clean off the shoe with it.
I didn't care!
Pinky's voice made her plot rumble, as if it were an ominous storm. Another hill, much smaller than the last, approached them. PewDiePie did the obvious and jumped it.
Front flip!
She exclaimed as she did just that.
Dad, that was a backflip!
Did you say black flip?
Backflip.
Okay, sorry. Rainbow replied.
Don't question me!
Motherfucker, you interrupted me, Rainbow replied.
I gotta repeat, don't question me!
Rainbow Dash's comment destroyed her pal's concentration, and their bicycle stopped and mid-backflipped. It plummeted like a flightless unicorn onto the concrete, crushing one wheel entirely and barely clipping Pewdie's head. The wheel squealed and spontaneously combusted, catapulting the bike's charred remains plus the ponies into the nearest spike-filled pit that happened to be filled with shirtless Fluttershies. Along the way, PewDiePie lost her helmet.
Oh, you don't have safety.
Rainbow Dash cawed.
I ain't gonna
A
show
half-mustache non-helmet id PewDiePie hissed.
I'm perfectly safe. Why, we're only falling into a pit of pointed, deadly spikes with only a teeny chance of survival, and to top it all off, the pit is also acting as a home to a horde of shirtless Fluttershies. Perfectly safe!
Rainbow Dash was the first to perish, but not by the spikes impaling her on the cranium. The brave Pegasus had fallen victim to one shirtless Fluttershy's brutal cuddling and cooing.
I have the most confused ooze wing burner right now.
Pewdie
You and I both, brother.
Pewdie got stabbed through the mustache by a random gear from the sky blue bicycle. A vermilion pixelated sign depicting the word victory popped up on screen, accompanied by a horn sounding off a few notes and a bucket full of confetti.
Oh yeah, that level was boss!
Female voice, gruff and raspy, exclaimed.
5 flippin'
A
stars!
tiny arrow moved swiftly across the screen and clicked the 5-star option on the rating scale. 5 bright yellow stars flickered their thank you and were silent once more, awaiting our next move.
Should I try with a new character?
The voice mused.
Segway Spike or Lawnmower or Lyra looks like they have their good to beat Blue Bud 1's record.
She thought long and hard about this decision, the mouse swaying back and forth like a charmed snake.
Decisions.
She thought.
I'll watch the
Da da
replay.
da 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 da. The end.
I didn't care.
I don't care. I'm not gonna do that.
Well then.
Wow, that was fun.
That was full of so much I don't care.
That was really good, actually. I like this.
Damn.
Well, either way, epic guy, you rock. This is from Dr. Jinxie on FIM Fiction, by the way. This is a great story. Fucking loved it. Probably gonna read all the rest of your stuff. On that note, this has been episode 11 of FlameAmigo619 Reads. So, these, the ladies and the boys from the house and stuff. Not everybody's here, but hey, we got mostly everybody that we needed for this episode. Like, comment, subscribe,
Comment, subscribe, swag.
Okay, I guess that counts. Yeah, if you like PewDiePie, definitely watch his stuff. This is a little shout out as well to PewDiePie. If you like Happy Wheels, I will actually leave the Happy Wheels game link in the description. Highly recommended. I think everybody else here recommends it as well.
Yeah.
Okay then,
And if you like cheese, send me your cheese.
because you can never have enough cheese in your life. That ends this episode and such. Good night, every pony.